if you're watching this, you're watching live on Twitch. It's not supposed to be watched live. I didn't plan, promote, do anything like that, so don't worry about that. It's just an easier transport process than just uploading it. Breaking news: Jim Cornette has resigned from the National Wrestling Alliance. This says resigns. I think that's more because of the way the gimmick works. So because there's not supposed to be a dash there. The dash implies that he re-signed. Resigned is RESIGN. So, Jim Cornette resigned from the National Wrestling Alliance. This is straight from the NationalWrestlingAlliance.com website. Not surprising. Cornette has always talked about how he doesn't need wrestling, how he has a small fortune. So, his iconic saying is "Thank you, fuck you, bye." The reason why we're talking about this isn't because of his resigning. It's because of a much bigger issue that people aren't talking about, at least yet. Jim Cornette, last night on NWA Power, said a line, something akin to Trevor Murdoch could drive through Ethiopia with fried chicken strapped to his body and be fine. The adage is that he's a bad mother trucker who can fight off hordes of people who are very angry or hungry or desperate. Trevor Murdoch can handle himself is essentially what the thought process was with the statement. People got upset, as people do on the internet. I asked Marcus, who, as everyone knows, is a photo negative of myself, and he said he didn't say anything offensive with it, but he also has this but this saying that he says that really rings true. You can't teach someone an experience. Like, just because one person sees it one way doesn't mean the other person will. And that's why I always kind of try to look at these things from all perspectives. I'm not someone who gets easily offended. And I think we as a society has become far too easily offended. But with that being said, I don't have a problem with a company and or an individual making a decision that's best for their audience. NWA took down the episode last night, edited out the portion that was offensive to some, re-uploaded it, and of course it stirred up the Jim Cornette is racist controversy and canceled Jim Cornette because, again, this is the internet, and if you're not angry, then why are you on it? I like looking at dog videos personally. Dodo, love the dodo. Anything cute. I may not strike you as that guy, but like tiny houses and pet videos, like 90% of my time on the internet. The other 10% is working. Well, 9.99%. So, of course people got mad. Of course people got outraged. Outrage! I don't know if it was warranted. This isn't even the worst thing that's happened this week. And the thing is that, fans are selected with their outrage. It's very easy to get mad at Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette's not the most popular of figures anymore in wrestling, So it's very easy to be, I'm offended. Here's Randy Orton with accusations of sexual misconduct. And no one's raising a stink out of that, but, well, Chad, that's old. That happened so many years ago. Listen, I said it last night, I'll say it again. If Freddy from Scooby-Doo won't shake your hand, you done fucked up, kid. So I don't think the outrage fits the issue, but it never does. We have people being bombed by drones and no one's saying a word. But Kylie Jenner sells 50% of her makeup company. Oh my God, burn down the internet. Y'all need to be outraged at appropriate things is what I'm saying. So, Cornette resigns, whatever. He wasn't the reason why I was watching. I was watching because I like the way that they're booking talents, and I like the shorter matches and the condensed atmosphere. It's all very much what I've been missing in wrestling. You look at AEW, and every match is 25 minutes with 46 high spots, and no one does anything. Pentagon doesn't even get out of the goddamn ring to make a tag. I'm never going to let that horse die. I'm going to keep bringing it back to life just to beat it more. So why are we making a video? Why are we spending precious time on this precious Wednesday when I have so much more shit to do, including uploading last night's review of Power? Why are we spending time talking about the NWA and Jim Cornette's resignation? It's because Jim Cornette shouldn't be resigning, at least alone. The problem with the NWA is not Jim Cornette. First and foremost, you have to understand something. This was filmed about 7 weeks ago, maybe 8. This is I think it was filmed at the start of September or at the end of August. We're into November. You've had 2 months to edit this out. You've had 2 months to ensure this episode went up without anything offensive in it. They have to put in those commercial breaks into every episode. That means they have to watch the footage back. That means whoever edited this episode heard the offending line, did not call Billy, or did call Billy, or Dave Lagana, and said, hey, fried chicken in Ethiopia, what do we do with this? And they either said, leave it in, or no one knew about it. Or they knew about it, they just didn't care. Either way, institutional failure. Across the board. But Jim Cornette's going to be the one hung out to dry. He's going to be the one tacked onto the cross and made to die for the sins of the NWA. When Dave Lagana and Billy Corgan are the ones who are directly managing the product. Could you imagine Vince McMahon, as psychotic, evil, and deranged as he is, not knowing what goes on his television product? What? That's lunacy. That is lunacy. So, why didn't this comment that was so offensive that they had to pull the video down, edit it out, and re-upload it? That's a pretty big admission. Like, oh, yeah. Like, if someone goes, I find your show offensive, I'd go, you listen? Oh, my God, thank you. I'm not going to tear anything down. I say what I say, I mean what I mean, and I do what I do. I don't do it with malice and ill intent. I just speak my experience, and I speak my mind. I'm not going to pull something down because you're offended. Oh, good for you, Billy. You're offended. Good for you. I don't care. I'm offended. I'm offended about a lot of things. You don't hear me bitching about it, unless you follow me on Twitter, in which case you do. Usually it's about the Browns. It's always about the Browns. Fuck the Browns. But today, we have to point out that there was more than just gimmicks and ha-has to be had about this in terms of a discussion. I like to keep things light. I like to keep things airy. Like Devil's Food Cake. Without the food and the cake, just the devil, worship the devil. All right, we're going back into the jokes. The issue with the NWA starts with its management. And first and foremost, let's post Dave Lagana. Dave Lagana is some kind of managing editor, executive producer, CE, fucking I don't give a fuck. He's number 2. Dave Lagana follows a man on Twitter by the name of God Saad. I don't know who this God Saad is. He's a professor, evolutionary behavioral scientist, author, and opinionists. Now, this doesn't mean anything. I don't give a fuck who you follow. I don't give a fuck what you retweet. If it's cat videos, dog videos, porn, or hey, look at this thing from the sports ball. Okay, cool. You do you. Your Twitter, your life. But it does paint a bigger picture, one that we need to include. Now, Gatsahad is apparently someone who is constantly being accused of pretty far-right ideals. And in today's woke culture, if you're considered far-right, you're considered not right. Now, again, I'm not speaking to anyone's political affiliation, what is or isn't right. I am very much the, ooh, look at that puppy, can I pet it guy. I vote when it's time to vote. I follow the issues when it's time to follow the issues. But other than that, as long as you treat people with respect and dignity, I do not give a flying fuckeroni unless you're an actual Nazi. And I don't mean like a white dude who says things that you claim are Nazisms. Unless you're rocking the swastika, I'm generally not going to give a fuck what you believe. Left or right, like I don't give a fuck. It's your life. You believe what you want. Who's to say if you're right or wrong? I mean, I am, but I'm not going to. I am the arbitrator of all things awesome. But Gatsahad has come under fire for a lot of really interesting, or bigoted, or unique, or racist ideas. But again, those are opinions, observations, points of views. Dave Lagana is a fan of the man and has retweeted him several times, but he always seems to delete the retweets. Go to Powerbomb Jutsu. That's a Powerbomb G. Nope, that's not how you say that letter. Powerbomb J. 33 can totally spell. UTSO, I think is how you spell it. Powerbomb Jitsu. They are our friends. They are a group of all-black pro wrestling and nerd fans. But Jitsu is the pro wrestling arm of Blurs Online. And they were the ones pointing this out on Twitter, and I respect them. I don't always agree with them, but I love those guys. I respect the hell out of them. And they were pointing out that Lagana, they posted screenshots or retweeted screenshots of Lagana retweeting this cat. Again, not a felony. No reason to go to Lagana's house and string him up and beat him like a piñata. He has some ideals that may not vibe with the mass majority. That's fine, do you. But it might explain why that comment made it to air. Dave Lagana doesn't seem to mind Ethiopian-based jokes. I don't mind jokes of any kind. The thing that I found most offensive about that joke was it made me hungry. And I did not have any fried chicken to eat. And I'm not driving 25 goddamn minutes to KFC because it's the only goddamn fried chicken place within a fucking stone's throw of my house. I could go to Wednesday's. Wednesday's is pretty good. But again, I'm getting off point because I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. Perpetually hungry. Short and hungry. But you could see why this might raise some eyebrows. But you think, okay, so Dave Lagana may have some different views. And Jim Cornette may have said I won't say racist joke, but a definitely racially insensitive joke. Then again, Dave Chappelle makes those jokes all the time, and, oh wait, they tried to cancel him too, so fair play. So, should Dave Lagana resign? Jim Cornette had to resign. I'm just saying, if you want to prove that things are changing, you have to start from the top down. But there's a problem. So if Dave Lagana wants to retweet things about believing in nationalism or whatever the fuck God Sahad believes in, fine. It's different viewpoints. It's backed by their own brand of science. Science light. Diet science. New science with same science taste. I don't know. Go with it. But the problem that I have is perpetual spreading of misinformation. You can look at research data and come away with it whatever you want. You can look at it and believe whatever you want as long as it's concise. There's a author who used data compiled in a British study that says men are more likely to want to cheat, and that's why women should be allowed to cheat. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Because if you're going with basic human urges, you should allow the men to cheat. I don't think cheating's all right regardless, but like if you're going to give someone a hall pass, it should be the dudes because they are the ones telling you they would rather have multiple partners. But the woman used that study to say, well, because women don't want to, they should be allowed to. And I'm like, I mean, frog logic? You want to leap to that conclusion? Go for it. But like, okay. But at least it's concrete information. They're not trying to distort what they're being told. You may not agree with their consensus or their conclusion, but the information is there for you to draw your own conclusion. That is always what I have tried to do with any podcast, any video, anything, whatever. Give you the facts and let you go do whatever you want with it. But Billy Corgan... Oh, Billy Corgan. So let's ignore the fact that Billy Corgan once, and you can look this up, had a 8-hour jam session in a local coffee establishment. Maybe it was a tea establishment. It was some sort of little drink, warm drink beverage dispensary, a storefront, if you will, where you can go and sip and read. A coffee shop, a tea shop, not sure which one it was. But he owns one in Chicago. And ask Jay Bradley, or anyone who worked with Resistance Pro Wrestling during Billy Corgan's era. There's some stories there involving Mr. Corgan. William Patrick Corgan, to be exact. He's had a 2-decade-long feud with the band members of the Smashing Pumpkins that he only just resolved. Because he doesn't hold grudges. But he has this coffee shop. Now, this isn't really indeterminate to anything I'm about to talk about, but it gives you a frame of mind to who he is. Billy Corgan owns this shop, whether it be coffee, tea, whatever. And he played music there, this instrumental nonsense bullshit thing. And a music reviewer from Chicago stopped by and basically reviewed his performance. Billy Corgan did not like the terseness or the abrasive criticism of this music blogger and basically chastised him on social media, banned him from life, and basically just treated him like he was subhuman because Billy Corgan didn't like his opinions. Billy Corgan is a weird motherfucker. He's also very volatile, not violent, but he anything he says you should probably doubt because he's very reactionary. And one of the things I want to point out to you, just very, very clear, is that if you want to live the life you want, that's fine. My big issue stems with people who are trying to fix the narrative, trying to change the narrative. Don't lie to the audience. Don't lie to the people. Tell the truth and let that lie where it may. So I'm not a fan of people like Alex Jones, because Alex Jones literally lies for a living. I once spoke very highly, and I still speak very highly, of Sam Smith. Wait, Shepard Smith, sorry. Former Fox News daytime anchor. Shep Smith is one of those guys that, even though he's more right than left, will always be right than wrong. He tells the truth. He doesn't fearmonger. I respect him. I may not always agree with him, but I respect that. Like, you can look at someone that you disagree with and go, God, I respect the fuck out of you. Shepard Smith is someone you can rely on, whether he's on CNN, Fox, wherever, because he tells the truth. Alex Jones, if he was a Democrat, I would want to beat his ass just as badly. That dude is a lying sack of shit. Anyone who associates with Alex Jones is someone I don't want to be involved with. It's someone I don't want to support. It's someone I don't like. But I like a lot of the NWA talent, so here I am, supporting the NWA, because I think people like Thunder Rosa and Colt Cabana and Tim Storm deserve eyes on them. So I bring this all up to show you that Billy Corgan revived his feud with Anderson Cooper and praises Alex Jones. There it is, right there, folks. Not doctored. Here's William Patrick Corgan, and there's Mr. Alex Jones, kind of just chilling, talking. I don't know why you would go on that man's show. He claimed Sandy Hook was made up. He actually believes that fluoride in the water is making frogs gay. I thought the biggest issue with frogs was that they enjoyed Budweiser. But here we are, 2019, brand new issues. When you realize that Billy Corgan does not like progressivism, and you don't have to like it. I'm not saying you have to like it, but look at this. Billy Corgan returns to InfoWars. Billy Corgan says he doesn't have a political affiliation. Well, you definitely don't not have an affiliation. Billy Corgan returns to InfoWars to demolish social justice warrior brainwashing. Oh, I can't wait to read some of this. If we could transport back to a time where racism was accepted. That's... Didn't reread this first time through. Perfect. Stop with that quote. Hot damn. If we could transport back to a time where racism was accepted, it was institutionalized. Okay, if you could go back to Selma, 1932, and the Klan member spitting in some person of color's face, don't you think that guy thought he was right too? Okay, so how is this any different? What the flying fuckaroni are you talking about, Billy Corgan? Oh, we should probably read the paragraph before that. On the show, Corgan proclaimed his love of Jones's super male vitality health supplements. Oh, good. But mostly he was there to, in Jones's own words, demolish social justice warrior brainwashing. Terms like this hashtag generation, hashtagging, and technocracy came up. Corgan agreed these liberals and SJWs are a cult and compared them to the KKK. It got better, and I didn't expect it to. Ha! Damn. Goddamn. The Smashing Pumpkins frontman said he's expanding his documentary about America into an 8-part miniseries. Never saw it. No one's did. It was really revealing, but maybe not in the way Corgan thinks. Watch the whole lengthy interview with Corgan starting at 45 minutes, 10 seconds below. The program also includes the description of YG and Nipsey Hussle's FDT, Fuck Donald Trump, video and a visit from an anti-vaccine filmmaker. Now, the video is gone. Just for context, the video it does not exist anymore. But Jim Cornette resigned. But it's Billy Corgan's goddamn fault. We are blaming the wrong person. Oh my God. Billy Corgan probably heard that joke and went, ha! Hilarious. Them SJWs are going to super hate it. Oh my God, this is... You go into these videos hoping to be entertaining, but wanting to be educational. But when you can smash the two ideas together, it's fantastic. I feel like Peter Wool, who did Robert Wool, who did a few of these comedic educational things for HBO back in the early 2000s. They were really funny. They're called Assume the Position. Go check it out if you want. And to hear Billy Corgan compare social justice warriors to the Klan. That's just tasty. That's just tasty. So let's just realize what we just read and reread this. As for his labels, here's how he views himself. Quote, I'm a free market libertarian capitalist. I'm not anti anything except establishment. I find institutions and systems suspicious. Billy Corgan doesn't like institutions, but he's all fine with InfoWars and Alex Jones. Quote, I'm not going to be defined by other people's version of the shadow world. He's talking about politics. I think I just became a diabetic. Did I just become a diabetic? This is too sweet. I'm not going to sit here and hold myself up as Mr. Pure, nor have I ever. I'm not a virtue signaler. I have no agenda. I'm not a politician. He's not a politician. He has no agenda, but Ethiopian jokes, they make it to air. And when they make it to air, we fire our color analyst. I love it. By the by, for those of you who don't understand what a color analyst is, a color analyst or a color commentator provides fluff and kind of a more broad scope on what's happening in the action that you're seeing. It's not a specific term to, segregate or demonstratize anyone. It's simply just you're adding color to the commentary. You're adding a little bit of life to the commentary. Tony Romo's a color analyst for you football fans. So, let's just. So Darcy Retzky, I believe she's the bassist for the Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah, it says right here, former bassist. He has basically called her a drug addict. And I'm going to really simplify the terminology he used. He says, quote, I think what she did demonstrates I could speak why she couldn't be involved. I was vulnerable and shared things and trusted that there was a reason to give it a chance. Despite plenty of empirical evidence, that was not a wise decision. Let's talk about empirical evidence. You have a guy who's supposed to watch the footage. You have a guy that's supposed to edit the footage. You and Dave Lagana are supposed to make sure that whatever makes to air is not going to be perceived as offensive. When in doubt, cut it out. Simple idea. Yet here we are sacrificing Jim Cornette on the stones of the NWA. And what will Billy Corgan do? Oh, well, let's go to the statement. Effective immediately, Jim Cornette has resigned from the NWA. As an announcer on the November 19th edition of NWA Power, Jim made remarks during a singles match between Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch that were both offensive and do not meet the high standards of decency and good faith of the National Wrestling Alliance. If we could transport back to a time where racism was accepted. High standards of the NWA, folks. Jim made remarks during the singles match that were not accepted, good faith. To ensure that such an error can never happen again, we've established new procedures of review for all NWA programming going forward. We sincerely regret our failure in the regard. Well, when Dave Lagana resigns or Billy Corgan steps down, I'll believe that you've changed. But until then, the NWA is still going to be ran like it was before. Because you can't just fire the underling and claim that it's okay. This was not a live broadcast. If it was a live broadcast, I would not be this incessant with my demand that more people lose their jobs. Because guess what? When you're live, things happen. When you edit recorded footage and you still let it get to air, that's not just Billy. That's just not Jim Cornette's fault. That's a lot of people's faults. And if you're going to hang Jim Cornette out to dry, when you know damn well sure if you were doing your job, it never would have made it to air in the first place, then you best start chopping heads across the board. You've opened the floodgate. If you didn't even edit it out and you just ignored the criticisms, no one would have known that this is a story. No one. We would have gone about our days talking about, hey, is Oney Lorcan Biff Busick? And if Biff Busick is Oney Lorcan, is Biff Busick released because he's going to be wrestling in Progress this weekend? I don't know. That's a question I want answered. Is Biff Busick still employed by the WWE? But instead, here we are, 30 minutes into this video, and we're talking Jim Cornette, Billy Corgan, and Dave Lagana. Now, there's more empirical evidence out there for Dave Lagana and for Billy Corgan to be mindful of. I only pulled what I knew. That's kind of what the point of this video was, just to be quick. 27 minutes in. Not very quick. So I want you guys to let me know down below. Is this an institutional problem, or did they do enough by releasing Jim Cornette? Or more specifically, do you think Jim Cornette should have been resigned or released or cut or whatever? Because let's be honest, they fired Jim Cornette. They're not saying they fired Jim Cornette because they said he's resigning, and he's going to resign at the end of this block of tapings, even because it would be financially just stupid to edit out whatever's left the next 4 weeks or three weeks of tapings. So they're gonna wait until the end of the taping block. Pay-per-view, they'll debut with a new color announcer, and then he'll be there to record for the next set of tapings. So you say he's resigning, or he's resigned because it allows you to cover that next 3 to 4 weeks. So do you think Jim Cornette should have been the scapegoat? Because he was the scapegoat. Do you think he should have been? Do you think this whole story is a big deal, or do you think this was overblown? Do you think the NWA made this more of an issue than it needed to be? Or do you think there are problematic issues with the NWA that were exposed last night? I don't really have a general stance. I'm kind of open to whatever not whatever you guys want me to think, because I'll never do that. But I'm open to a lot of interpretations. I could see why some people would want Jim Cornette to be released. I see why Jim Cornette maybe shouldn't have been released. I see that there's a bigger issue in the NWA, but I also see that to punish the NWA for its ownership is to hurt the talent who are getting a shot. So it's not exactly a cut and dry situation. You can't just chop people off at the knees and then tell them to learn to walk again. Like, no, you cut their legs out from underneath them. Like, things have changed. So I don't want to be that dramatic with the laying of the smack down on the NWA, because there are real people there with real jobs who really need this work. But I do also have to question, if you're going to hang Jim Cornette out to dry, should he be the only one? Because Jim Cornette damn sure didn't edit the video and damn sure didn't post it. So that's why this is a very convoluted and sticky of a situation. So let me know down below in the comments on the YouTubes what you think should happen to Jim Cornette. You can find us at Twitter at NERDCORP. You can find us on Instagram at Real Nerd Corp. We are on Teesprings at, the link's right there on the damn video. Just look to the left. We're also at the Wrestling Underground on Twitter. It's Wrestling Under G, WREST. Well, it's right there on the screen. Come on, guys. I can't teach you how to read. because I barely know how to myself. Be sure to check out the website, realnerdcorp.com, realnerdcorp.com. We have a new column coming up today. I don't remember which one it is, but it's going to be entertaining. And we have a bunch of new columns already there. So go check out, the wrestler to watch and, should the Knockouts Tag Team titles come back and all kinds of good stuff down below. Plus, we're going to have the NWA Power recap here up in about an hour, give or take. And we have Sunday's show up to talk about with the mass exodus from the WWE possibly happening sooner rather than later. And then tonight we're recording Making an Impact. So tune in on twitch.tv/WrestlingUnderground at 9 p.m. tonight as we talk about this past Tuesday's edition of Impact Wrestling and Impact News. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Be sure to help us out and fund the website by buying a t-shirt or by subscribing to us on Patreon. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, you just want to watch our videos, that's cool too. Thanks for checking this out. Appreciate that. I've been Chad Porto. This has been the Wrestling Underground. Thank you. Enjoy your day. And remember to always watch more wrestling.